Hello and welcome. This is the first part of my playthrough of the first scenario, Target Kaoshiung, for the next war Taiwan. This is going to be a tutorial playthrough, so I will try to explain everything, show you step by step how the game works, etc. Please notice that English isn't my first language, so if I will make any language mistakes, I'm sorry. Also, if you spot any rules mistakes that I made, feel free to correct me, to post them in the comments. I am always grateful for that. Okay, so this is first scenario. It isn't played on the entire board. In fact, we are only using a small part of the board south of the hex row 24. So all the hexes north of 24 are out of play. Yeah, north. Because I know this is right or east, but when it comes to the geography, here is south, there is north. But I know it may look confusing, but oh well. Okay, and in this part, in this small scenario, Chinese player, or should I say invaders or People Republic of China, because in fact both sides are technically Chinese, plans to capture as many urban hexes and ports, marked with this symbol, as possible. If he will be able to control 5 of them at the end of the last 4th turn, he wins the battle. If he controls 3 of them, or 4 maybe, there is a draw, there is a minor victory of the PRC, and if there is a less of them, there might be a draw or even Republic of China victory. So we will see how it will go. And now let's talk a bit about special scenario rules, because we have some special scenario rules that we are going to include in this particular scenario. First of all, submarine threat and anti-submarine warfare do not change during this scenario, and in fact they are not going to affect our play much. Next, there is sea control, because as you know, this game comes with 2 boards, this one and strategic display. But in fact we are not going to use a strategic display in this particular play because it is not going to be needed. We are not rolling for the sea control in this play, because Chinese player controls both zones from that board for the entire game. We are not going to roll for control, so we don't need them. Everything we need is already on this board. I will show you later. And everything else I think I will cover during the game. Okay, so now we can start the game. A cool thing in the next war is that each game comes with these player aids that help you to remember step by step what are you going to do. So we are starting with weather phase, and now we in the first 2 turns weather is fixed. Invader chooses which weather he wants to have, and of course he wants to have clear weather because it is the best for his air and naval forces. So weather is clear. Next, this is a supply phase. In the turn 1 we don't have to worry about supply, everything is fine. All the units are starting as being in supply. I will cover this stuff later in the next turns when some units might be out of supply might happen. And next we have initiative air naval phase. In this phase we are going to do several steps. First one is check who has an initiative. In this particular scenario, initiative is fixed. We are not checking the number of victory points to see who holds an initiative, but instead scenario tells us that in the turn 1 PRC has initiative. So that's what we know. Next, air points. Now we have to check how many air points each side has. In this scenario, air points are also fixed. So each turn tells us how many air points each side has. There is optional rule saying that instead you might roll for a random number. At the beginning of the game I will stay with fixed number of points. So it says that PRC has 12 air points and Republic of China has 4. So we are moving on to game information display and we are marking a Chinese player with 12 air points and Republic of China with 4 points. And now there is one more important special rule saying that Chinese player might spend 6 of his air points to delay upcoming reinforcements for Republic of China, because there are 2 brigades and two quite good brigades that are going to enter the board during turn 1, not in the reinforcement step, but in the movement segments, and they can be a threat for the landing Chinese units. So Chinese player decides to do so. He spends 6 air points, and now these units are going to enter not during the movement segment, but during the reinforcement and replacement segment phase. So now we have to check, because we spent 6 air points, so we have 6, and defender has 4. So the difference between these air points is 6 minus 4, it's 2. So next thing is to check for air superiority. The difference was 2, so it is going to be contested. So now we know the air stuff, so we can continue our game, and the next step is to check for sea control. We are not rolling for sea control in this game, so we can skip that stuff. And next there is a mine clearance roll. In this step we are rolling for each mine marker, but there are, it is meant to be not rolled in the turn 1. Playwright told us that both sides roll for mine clearance, not on the game turn 1. So we can skip this stuff also and move straight into initiative, movement and combat phase. This phase is played only when one side has initiative. If there is a contested turn when no one has initiative, this thing might happen, and it will happen during this play too, then we are skipping this phase. It is in fact the longest phase in the entire game when it comes to the standard rules. There are many segments that both sides are doing something. I like in this game that even if it is I go you go game, then still both sides are doing something very often. It's not like in many war games that one side is moving all his units and the other side can go and do make tea, cake or something else. No, there is a lot of work to do for both sides. So we are starting with initiative movement segment. In this segment, initiative player, meaning People Republic of China in this particular game, can do his stuff with moving his units. And of course, since there are no units on Taiwan, I'm going to start my journey on Taiwan with several of my units coming or sailing or flying there. There are multiple ways to get on Taiwan now. We can do it by air or by sea. As for air, there are 2 options. First, with air mobile movement. Second, with paradrop. There is of course an option with air transport, but to make air transport you need to hold airfield or airbase, and of course we have none. So I will start with my air mobile transport. This is the best way to transport your units when you don't have control over enemy territory, but for this you need air mobile points. Chinese player has 4 air mobile points in this scenario, and he can spend them once per turn. This means that you have 4 points and they are given you for the entire turn, not for the phase or segment, but for the entire turn. And how they work: each point allows you to transport 1 stacking point of light infantry. Stacking points are here, and light infantry are units with these yellow movement points on the black background. So this is light infantry, this is light infantry, but this is not. Even this is not. Even if it is an infantry, it is not light infantry. So these units might be transferred with air mobile points, and that's what I'm going to do. I will start with this airborne brigade, and I am spending one air mobile point to transport them. How and when? Air mobile movement gives you 24 movement points. And if we are moving from the People's Republic of China holding box onto Taiwan, we already spent 8 movement points of air mobile movement. Please notice this number of 8 here. It tells us that to reach this edge, you already spent 8 movement points. So this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we are flying here, and now I want my transport helicopters to land here and unload these troops. That's cool. But there is an enemy airfield here, and there is, of course, when we are flying over enemy territory and landing, there is still a chance that enemy air defense will shut us down. So after you finish your air mobile movement, you have to make a roll for air defense. This is a roll that we are going to do many times in this game. We are rolling in the standard game air defense table, and we are checking what is the level of air superiority. It is contested in this turn, so we'll be rolling in this column for the entire turn. And now, do we have any modifiers here? In fact, we have. We are landing in the 2 hexes range from enemy airfield, so it is -2. We are not landing in the, adjacent to the enemy mechanized or armored unit, because this is infantry unit. So it provides no modifier for such a roll. And that's all. So we are going to make a roll with D10, and we have -2 to our die roll. That's 8. -2, it is 6. So we get 6. Nothing happens. So we can land here safely. That's good. They are landing, and they will be able to try to size this airfield after attacking the enemy, of course. Next, I will do the same, and so I'm spending one more air mobile point with this brigade. They are flying here. I already know that I have enough air mobile points to move here, and they can land here because this is roof woods, and you can land with your air mobile movement on the roof woods. So next, I have also to make a roll to see if they are going to land there safely. I rolled 6, and now that's 6. Yes, that's 6, no, not 9. And now that's -2 because of an airfield, so that's 4. So yeah, they are landing safely. Okay, so I spent 2 air mobile points. I still have 2 more, but I don't want to spend more of them for now. You will soon see why. So I am now moving this airborne brigade, and they are not going to use air mobile movement. Instead, they will try to make a paradrop. To move a paradrop, you are using air movement. Not air mobile movement, but air movement. To make an air movement, you can move your units all over the board as you like. That's pretty good, right? But the tricky part is that if you want to do so, you have to land, and now you have to make two roles. First for air defense and the second for paradrop. So we are starting with, we are landing here, and first we are making air defense role. We are landing in the 2 hexes from enemy airbase, so we need to get -2 modifier for this roll. That's 8 minus 2, that's 6, so we made it. And next, after we know that that our aircraft made it here and started to drop our airborne soldiers, now we have to make a roll to see if they are landing safely. We are making a roll in the paradrop table. We are landing in the flat terrain, and there is a modifier of +1 if we are landing in enemy zone of control. But we are not. This unit here has a stacking value of 1, meaning it has no zone of control, because only units with a stacking value of 2 or more have zone of control. This means also a stack of 2 units with stacking value of 1 will have stacking value of 2 in total, and then it will have zone of control. But this lone brigade has no zone of control. So it's not going to affect our landing, but I still have to make a roll. I rolled 2, so they landed safely. Okay, so the entire division landed safely, that's great. And I have 2 more air mobile points to spend, and I'm going to spend them as well. So I have these 2 marine battalions, and they also can do air mobile movement. Please notice that each of them has a half of stacking value, meaning I can spend 1 air mobile point to transport both of them, but only if they will land on the same hex. If they want to move differently, I would have to spend 1 air mobile point for each of them. So what I want to do with these guys? Let me see. That would be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And let me go with air defense roll. That's 8 minus 2, that's 6. They are landing here safely. And the last moves 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And air defense roll, that's 4 minus 2, so that, and minus 1. Why minus 1? Because this is mechanized unit, and every time you are making air mobile movement, if you are making air defense roll on the hex adjacent to the enemy mechanized or armored unit, you have to subtract -1. So we have -2 for airbase, -1 for enemy mechanized unit, so it's -3. So we have 1. 1 in the contested means abort -1. So abort means that our operation failed. They have to return to the China, and air mobile point is considered to be spent. So that's all. We spent all our air mobile points, but we made it quite well. We managed to transfer 4 units on Taiwan, and none of them is damaged. So that's pretty good, because judging on my own experience, it's not always ending this way. In fact, it often ends differently and much worse for attackers. But that's not all. We have a lot of units here in China, and these are units that we cannot transfer via air transport, but that's why we have amphibious groups here, so they are going to get some sea journey. Each amphibious unit has transport value, and this one has a transport value of 2, meaning it can transport total units with stacking value of 2. So I'm going to load this mechanized marine division here, here, and there. And the last of my amphibious group is loading one marine tank battalion and one marine mechanized battalion. So now they are all sailing from China through the sea zone into Taiwan Straits inshore box. Taiwan Strait inshore box is also here. That's why we don't have to use our strategic display. So let me move all of them into Taiwan Straits inshore box. Since Chinese player controls all the sea and inshore boxes, then we don't have to make rolls for possible contested sea movement. And my naval groups. I have two naval groups, carrier group and surface action group. I want them to move. And now, carrier group moves here together with this amphibious group. And now, surface action group. It moves through the sea zone into Taiwan Strait inshore box, and now it wants to move onto board. It is possible because when you are making your sea movement, you can move as much as you like with your sea units. The only limitation is that you can move only through the one sea zone. You cannot move through the more than one sea zone, but you can move as many hexes, inshore boxes as you like. So they are now here, and oh sorry, these mines should be there, my mistake. And now please notice that they enter this hex, and this hex is in the area of effect of these mines, because when mines are placed on the shore hex, they are affecting all the adjacent hexes. So normally they would be able to move here without any problems, but since there are mines, we have to make a roll for contested sea movement whenever mines are affected. So we need to make roll in the contested sea movement table, which is here, and if we get 5 or less, our sea movement is successful. If we get more, then we will have to go back to the last zone we were in. I rolled 1, so that's great. So of course there are some modifiers. For example, there is +1 for mines density, so this is going to be 2. And there are no any other modifiers, so that's fine. I can move here. Okay, so that's all when it comes to my movement segment. I moved all my units available. The ones that are already in China, meaning them, will have to wait for their turn. We cannot transport all of them. So that's all for the movement segment. Next, we are going into initiative combat segment. In this segment, a Chinese player might attack enemy units. You don't have to attack. You can do it as you like. So I'm going to do so. I will start here with these 2 units attacking here. So I have 3 because their attack strength is 2 and 1. So they have 3. Versus defense value of this unit is 2. So the odds are, basic odds, are now 3 to 2, meaning this is 1.5 to 1. We are taking the verse of the terrain that defender is on, and they are on the flat terrain. So we'll be using this verse, and this is going to be 1.5 to 1. But these are not the final odds, as you will soon see, because we have a couple of column shifts. First, there is a special rule for this scenario saying that because of the surprise, Chinese player gets +1 column shift for all of his attacks. So we shift by 1. Next, a thing that we always have to do is to choose one unit which is going to be a leading force of our attack. This unit is going to use its combat efficiency versus enemy combat efficiency, and we need to compare them. So this is 6 versus 5. So this is +1. Because of this difference, we get another shift. So now we have 3 to 1. Is that all? Not really. Next shift is because defender is in the city. This is a city. And if defender is in the city that he controls, then he gets positive modifier for him of -2. So we are shifting by 2 into 1.5 to 1. So as you can see, we simply returned to the beginning. And now, when we know the odds, we cannot simply roll the die and see the effect. We have to include modifiers, a lot of them, in fact. Attacker first. I'm going to get -2 because of this surface action group. They have a strength of 2 and a range of 2, meaning they can affect all the units in the 2 hexes range, so they are in the range. So they provide us with -2 modifier. They can be used once per segment. Next, attacker calls for his air support. He has 6 air points and he wants to get 2. So he has 6, so I am moving air points counter on the field with 4, and now I have to roll for enemy AO defense to see if I will get these air points. I rolled 6. There is, as you probably remember, let's hope so, -2 for enemy air base, so it's 4, and 4 in the contested column, it is no effect. So we get another -2. Yes, minus, because in this game, in the combat roll, you want to roll as low as possible. And now I declare that these are all support points that attacker gets. So now defender. Defender might also call for his support, and that's what he's going to do. He calls for 1 point of AO support. It is 3. There are no modifiers here, because there are no enemy control airfields, no enemy control mechanized or armored units, but there is enemy naval group here. And if there is enemy naval unit in the 2 hexes range, it also affects our air points, because it has a lot of AO defense stuff, so it can also affect AO defense roll. So we had 3, and now we have to subtract -2 because of this surface action group. So this is 1. 1 in the contested, meaning -1. So we spent 1 point, and -1 tells us that we lost 1. This is not a permanent loss. This is loss for this particular combat. So we spent 1 point, but we have nothing. Okay, so that's all for support. And next, I'm going to check for any other die roll modifiers. I think there is going to be only 1 die roll modifiers here. Why? Because we are attacking with 2 different formations. Please notice that these 2 units have their icons in different colors. This is yellow and this is white. If such situation occurs, then you have 2 different formations in the attack. And for each additional formation, you need to get +1 negative modifier for the attacker. Meaning they are not same unit, and it is a bit harder to coordinate their actions. So we get +1, so it is -3 now. That's all for our die roll modifiers. We are now making a roll, and it is 7. -3, it is 4. this is minus one, and retreat. This means that each unit takes one loss, and since we decided that this unit is going to be a leading force, it has to be first to take a loss. So they take a loss, defender also takes loss, and now there was retreat. This means that defender has to retreat 2 hexes. But units defending in the cities may voluntarily ignore retreat results by passing ER check. What is ER check? ER check is a roll and the result is compared with your combat efficiency. If you made it by rolling same or equal result, you are fine. So let's make a roll. That's 4. So they passed their check, so they can remain on this hex. That's good. Now these two are attacking here. And now this is 2 and 4 versus 2. So basic odds are 2 to 1. Next, we are making a check of the unit's combat efficiency. This one is going to be a leading force, so 6 versus 5, it is +1, and surprise in the turn 1, that's 4 to 1. And sorry, I made a mistake because we are not using this verse, but that verse. This is roof terrain, so we are using roof woods verse, and here is our final odds. Next, we have to check for die roll modifiers. A Chinese player calls for 1 air point of his air support. That's 3. -2, because there is an airfield here, so that's 1. So no, we don't have this point. Defender wants to use their combat helicopters. We can use our combat helicopters twice per turn. First, we are moving them like this, and if they are used for the second time, we are moving them like this. So we are using them. And I have to make a roll for air defense as well. That's 5, no modifiers, so yes, we get them, and they provide +2. So it was no modifiers at all, and now it is +2 in favor of the defender. Now defender has 3 air points that he can call for, and well, he wants to keep them for more dangerous situations. So do we have any other modifiers here? Yes, because this is light infantry, and it's light infantry attacking in the roof woods terrain. When such situation happens, you get -1, because light infantry is particularly trained to fight in such roof terrain. So this is now -1, and the final modifier is +1. There is no modifier for different formations, because please notice that these two are the same yellow formation. So we are making a roll. That's 1 +1, it's 2. Where it is here. So the roll is 2. It's -1, -2, and retreat. Meaning, attacker takes 1 loss, defender takes 2 losses, so this brigade is eliminated, and we can capture this airfield. But there were enemy combat helicopters here. Are we going to capture them? No, they have to fly away from here, but since enemy soldiers are approaching them, they have to make a defense roll. Oh, that's 1. So let me check. Well, that's that's not a problem, because let me check. They are all infantry units, so we have no modifiers here. There are no enemy ships, nothing. So that's still not that bad. They are simply losing their option to perform another air support, and they are rebasing into another airbase or airfield. And now they are captured this airfield. Do we have this airfield in control? Nope. Because the control of the hex is going to change at the end of the turn. So, despite our forces are holding this airfield, they are not still having it under full control, and they won't be able to use it for the purpose of air transport in this turn. To make it remember, I'm going to mark this airfield as a pending control marker. You won't find this marker in this game because it comes with Next War supplement. It is expansion for different games of the Next War series, but I found these counters extremely helpful. And please remember one more important thing that people tend to forget about. Airfield is not an installation. Airbase, port are installations, but airfields are not. Why I'm saying it is important, you will see. So that's all for Chinese attacks. I haven't any other units to make an attack. So this is everything when it comes to my initiative movement segment. Next segment is elite reaction movement segment. In this segment, non-initiative player can move his units, but only those that have combat efficiency of 6, 7 or 8. Long story short, on the entire board I can only move this mechanized marine brigade because they have combat efficiency of 6. But I don't want them to leave this hex because this hex is quite important for me. As you can see, this is urban hex. It is a port and the port with a capacity of 4. So no, I'm not going to leave this hex unprotected. So they are not moving. And now I'm not making any more actions in this segment because I haven't more units that I can move. So next we are going into exploitation movement segment. In this segment, an initiative player can move his units, but only those who are not in the enemy zones of control. But this means I can move all of my units, because they are not in enemy zone of control. This unit has a stacking value of 1, so it creates no zone of control. Okay, let's carry on with our movement then. They are going to stay here, and this Marine battalion is moving 1 and 2, while this brigade is leaving this hex. It moves 1 and 2. It will try to capture this city. Okay, so they are here, and now I have to move my marine units. They are going to have their D-Day. They are all in the inshore box. And why it is so important? Because if you want to perform amphibious assault, you have your units to start their movement segment in the friendly controlled or contested inshore box adjacent to the zone where you are trying to perform your amphibious assault. Long story short, you cannot simply move your amphibious groups from the People's Republic of China onto this board and then make your amphibious operations. They have to be moved into inshore box and start their movement segment in the inshore box. Then they can move again now onto the Taiwan. So let me go here, and what I'm going to do. This group is going to move here. This one is going to move here. This one is going to move here. I will cover this soon. I will show you how they are going to move. And now there. Okay, here they are. But please notice that these two are adjacent to the minefield, meaning we have to make contested sea movement roll to see if mines aren't going to affect them. As for modifiers, there will be +1 for minefield and -1 because there is enemy surface action group. So first for them, that's 6, +1 -1, it's 6. As for the contested sea movement, 6-8, sea movement aborted. So they are sailing away. And they are returning back to the inshore box. Now them, that's 1, so fine, they can stay here. And now, since they are here, that's all for my movement. And what I'm going to do next? Next, I'm going to make Exploitation combat segment. Exploitation combat segment is yet another combat segment, but this time attacker gets negative -2 column shift for all his attack. Meaning, attacking is going to be much harder this time, but doesn't mean that we are not going to try. So, I will start with my attack here. These two are attacking this brigade, so I have 3 versus 1. This is going to be 3-1 as basic odds. Next, I'm using this unit as a leading force, so it's 6 versus 4. That's +2. And I have a +1 modifier for the surprise in the turn 1, so that's 6-1. And is that all? Not really. First, they are defending in the city, so that's -2. And next, this is Exploitation combat segment, so this is yet another -2. See, it was great 6-1 and now it is just 2-1. Okay, die roll modifiers. -2 for our surface action group. A Chinese player calls for 1 air point. Air defense roll, -2 for airbase, it's 4, it's fine. So we have -3. And defender calls for 1 air point as well. That's 2. Oh, this is going to be very bad. Because -2 because of the ships is makes 0. And now let me show something. 0 in the contested, it is -1. Okay, we know that. And please notice that there is an asterisk here. If there is an asterisk, this means that the 1 point was lost permanently. To make it, to remember about it, we are using air points destroyed counter and we are placing it on the 1. This means that in the next turns, when we will count the number of air points available, we will have to subtract 1, because 1 was lost permanently. Okay, so this one was lost, and I'm not calling for more points, and neither side has more die roll modifiers, so that's going to be everything. That's 6 -3, it's 3. So this is -2. It means that this unit takes 2 losses. So it cannot even take 2 losses, but it is still destroyed. And now, since defender was destroyed, even if there wasn't retreat result, we can still advance on the empty hex. And now there comes a new thing that we didn't cover before. Clearing. Every time you enter a hex of the other player, of the enemy, enemy nation, which contains installation or city or urban hex, you have to clear it first to control it. So you are taking clearing numbers. You should put them into some cup or something, shuffle them well, and now draw randomly one of these. Put it like this, so you don't know what is on the other side, and now these units are performing clearing operation. If they will stay on this hex until the reorganization phase, they will be allowed to perform clearing operation and to control this city. Okay, that's all for this combat, but that's not all for our combat operations in this segment, because we have some amphibious assaults to perform. And please remember that technically amphibious assault is an attack. You are choosing the hex that you want to land on, and you are assaulting this hex. So this group, for example, is assaulting this hex. These two battalions are assaulting this hex. There are no enemy units on these hexes, so our assault ends with instant success. Same goes here. I am assaulting this hex and no enemy units here. Mines are not affecting us again, so we are able to land there safely. And now there is another thing that we have to do. When we are making our land, we have to make beachhead. We have to choose one of our hexes where the beachhead will be made. I decide for this hex, and that's where beachhead is created. Beachhead provides us with many good things, like having its own defense of 2, allowing to transport units there with sea transport, etc., etc. So it is always great to have a beachhead, but you can have as many beachheads as a number of counters allows you, and in this particular game Chinese player can only have one beachhead. Okay, so that's all for exploitation combat segment, and we are now in the reaction movement segment. Now defender can move normally. Also, he would gain some reinforcements due to the special scenario rules, but please remember that we spent 6 air points to delay them. Because of that, they are not going to enter during the movement segments. They will get into the game during reinforcement and replacement phase. So we can only move with all the units we have on board already. So what I'm going to do with Taiwanese forces? Enemy is here, and I would like to recapture this city. The problem is that I don't have much units to do so. Because, well, I want someone to hold this port and this urban hex, because these are victory points. Same goes here. I need to cover these urban hexes. I can't simply leave my units alone and go there fighting with enemy. But I think I can move this armored brigade 1, 2, and 3 here. Even if they are not going to attack the enemy, they might stay here and block enemy movement. So that's what they are going to do. They aren't strong enough to make an attack, because you see, beachhead provides defense of 2, they have defense of 3, so it will be 5, and they would also have support of these 2 naval groups. So attacking there would be extremely hard. Even if I would use this infantry brigade together, there will be 6 minus versus 5, 1 to 1. And defender has combat efficiency of 6, so no, this is not going to work. Okay, so that's all for my movement segment. I am not making any attacks with Taiwanese forces, so reaction combat segment is not in effect. This ends initiative, movement and combat phase. We are moving into basic movement and combat phase. This phase is played in every turn, no matter if it is contested turn or not. This phase contains only 4 segments. For each side we have 1 movement and 1 combat segment. So we are starting with invaders and their movement segment. What I'm going to do? Well, as for units that are already on island, they are going to stay here because they need to clear this hex first. They need to protect this airfield, so they are going to stay there as well. This amphibious group is returning to China. I don't need it anymore. And now let's go here. These two groups are also returning to China. And now them. Their plan is to attack this hex because there is a port here. And also, this hex is quite important as well because, let me remember if I'm correct, yes, it is considered to be an urban hex for the purpose of this particular play. So each of these two hexes provide one victory point for Chinese player. So now I want to move this mechanized brigade, and they are spending their 3 movement points to move here. Okay, so that's all. And now I have this amphibious group in the Taiwan Straits inshore box, and they will try to make their amphibious assault here. Okay, so that's all for my movement segment, and now combat segment. They are making their amphibious assault here. They are fine because mines are here. Mines are affecting these hexes, but not this one. So I could move here with ease. Next, they are attacking here. So that's 3, 4, and 6. So we have 6 versus 2. It is going to be 3-1 in the clear terrain. And now column shifts. This one is going to be a leading force, so it's 6 minus 5, it is +1. Next, +1 for the surprise in the turn 1, and -2 because defender is in the city. So it's 3-1. Now die roll modifiers. -1 for the ship group. Next, I will call for my 1 air point. Let me roll for AO defense. That's 0. Oh hell. And that's -2 for enemy airbase. So this is -1. Meaning -2 and an asterisk. So we don't get this air point, and because of the asterisk we also suffer 1 permanent loss of our air points. No good. And as for defender calls for 1 air point. That's 3, and we have -2 for enemy ships, -1 for enemy mechanized units, so this is 0. 0 in the contested, also a -1 and an asterisk, so 1 permanent loss for Republic of China now. So they already suffered 2 permanent loss for the entire turn. That's not good. Alright, do we have any other modifiers? Actually, yes. They are 2 different formations. So this is +1 in favor of the defender. So now total modifiers are 0. We are making a roll, and that's 3. That's -1 and retreat. So defender takes 1 loss and has to retreat 1. But since they are defending in the city, they can take combat efficiency check to see if they have to retreat or not. I rolled 3, so they passed. So they can stay here. That's good for them. Okay, so now that's all when it comes to the combat segment. Yeah, that's all for the combat segment, I think. Let me see. You know, it's kind of tempting to make an attack here with this mechanized regiment onto this port, but I would leave my beachhead unprotected against enemy tanks. So no, I'm not going to do so. I will leave them here to protect my beachhead. So now I'm not making any more attacks, and that's all for the combat segment. We are moving into the movement segment of the Republic of China. So what are they going to do? Their options are very limited, in fact, because, as you see, the number of their units is also very limited, and, well, they need reinforcements, they need BAT, because for now they are stretched and they are simply protecting the most vital parts of their infrastructure, but they don't have enough troops to perform any offensive operations. Because of that, they are going to stay where they are, doing nothing, and they are not moving and not attacking either. So this concludes basic movement and combat phase, and we are now going into the reorganization phase. Okay, so now let's go to reorganization phase. First thing is to rotate all helicopters to reflect no missions. So they are back to normal, they are fully operational again. Next, we have to reset air points to 0. So all air points counters are removed from the display, save to the air points destroyed markers that are going to stay there for the game, for the entire game. Next, reset air mobile points. So Chinese player again has 4 air mobile points. Next, conduct clearing operations. We have only one clearing operation to perform, which is here. So first we are revealing what kind of clearing value it has. It is 5, so it's pretty high, because the highest you can get is 6, and that's not good, because you want it to be as low as possible. And now we have to conduct our clearing operation. First of all, we have to check if we have enough stacking points to make it safe. We have 2 stacking points. We are trying to clear the city, and for the city we need 3 stacking points. So does it mean that we can't do this operation? No, we can. But if we will fail, we will have to take 1 loss because of the lack of minimum safe stacking points. This might hurt. Next, we are choosing the unit which is going to be our leading force. Let it be this full strength brigade. And now we need to make a roll and to add or subtract modifiers to see if we made this clearing operation or not. That's 7, okay, this is good, but let's count for modifiers. -1 for Republic of China, so this is 6. -1 because the units that are clearing made paradrop or used air mobile movement in this turn. Yes, they did, so that's 5. See, it's not looking good. Next, we have only leg units, so we don't get modifier for a mix of legs and mechanized units. Next, difference between combat efficiency and clearing number. This unit has combat efficiency of 6, clearing number is 5, so this is +1, so this is 6. And difference between stacking points and minimum safe stacking points. We have 2, this is 3, so that's -1, so that's 5. So we have 5 and 5. So yes, we made it barely, but we made it. So now this city is under Chinese control. Next, we have to check for hex control changes. There is one hex change here, because we captured this airfield. Like I said before, airfields are not installations, so we don't have to make clearing operations for them, and now this airfield is under Chinese control as well, so we'll be able to use it to transport our units on Taiwan. That's great. Okay, so that's all for reorganization phase, and we are going into reinforcement and replacement phase. In this phase, both sides are getting their reinforcements. So Chinese player gets this marine division, and it is going to be placed in the People's Republic of China holding box. Next, defenders. They get this American brigade, and it comes with air transport. It is unloaded here in Kaohsiung, and since they arrive with air transport, I have to make a roll for air defense. That's 9, so they are fine, they landed safely. Next, I get these two brigades. They were meant to enter the game earlier during the movement segment, but because of the air points that Chinese players spent to delay their arrival, they are going to enter the board here. And where they are going to arrive, I think they are going to enter here. Alright, so that's all for reinforcements, and now replacements. And in the replacement step, each side gets replacement points that it can spend on step recoveries or reconstitution of their damaged or destroyed units. Chinese player gets none in this turn, but Taiwanese player gets 1. That's not much. In fact, it allows us to get 1 step of the infantry, light infantry or motorized infantry, no more. Or, from the other hand, we can reconstitute 1 destroyed brigade of this type. So what I want to do, I have this brigade damaged, it took 1 loss, so am I allowed to bring them back to the full strength? Sadly, I can't. Why? Because they are in enemy zone of control, and units that are in enemy zone of control cannot get replacements. So I still have this 1 point, and I can keep it for the another turn. But I don't want to wait. Instead, I'm going to spend it to bring back one of my destroyed infantry brigades back to action. So this brigade returns into game on the weakened side. Please notice this white light strap here, indicating that this one is 1 step less, and this brigade enters the game from this hex. Okay, so that's all for replacement and reinforcement, and that's the end of the turn. We don't have any more stuff to do in this turn, so that's the end of turn 1. I tried to make it as much tutorial as possible. I hope you found it interesting and helpful, mostly helpful. Again, if you noticed any mistakes that I made and I didn't correct them during the game, because I sometimes I see them by myself, but sometimes not, feel free to correct me in the comments. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the part 2 of this playthrough.